Hey guys, Harv here, and welcome back to the Kerbal Space Program Test Pilot. This is the show in which we take viewer submitted ships and test them out to see just how good my community is at at building craft, I suppose. Today we have a pretty cool entry, one that I'm surprised I haven't done already. This is a single stage to orbit. The name of the craft is Beyond version 2 and submitted by Campbell. So it's by Campbell YK. Thank you very much for the submission. Your ship, Beyond 2, has 60 parts and 1 stage. And we're going to test it out, because single stages to orbit are incredibly difficult to make. Making them well is hard. And the first thing you've done here is to do it perfectly right. Or, well, right as far as I can see. It's certainly not massive, which is the best thing. Pretty interesting. Let's put the brakes on, do a little bit of analysis. No crazy analysis, because I know it took me 9 minutes to actually get Leapfrog. Was it Leapfrog? The one that goes in the ocean and is amazing. It took me like 9 minutes to actually get that in the water, so no 9-minute analysis. But I do want to take a little quick look at this. It's got a docking port on the front, which is the first thing that stands out towards me. It actually it goes with it pretty well. I'm surprised it actually looks that good. Fits in, certainly. That's for, you know, refueling in orbit, presumably. Looks pretty nice. It's got canards on the front with tip-mounted RCS thrusters. Hopefully the RCS is balanced correctly. I'd imagine it is. This looks pretty well built. Winglets, maybe it's had excessive, but looks cool, so that's justified. Ooh, nice delta wing kind of X-Fighter kind of look going on there. Aerospike, which is nice. 2 turbojet engines, or are they turbojets? I'm not sure. They're the high altitude ones at any rate. The interesting thing here is that the aerospike is mounted onto the main body, which holds the actual liquid fuel and no oxidizer. So that's actually going to be used by the turbojet engines, and then the aerospike is using these outside engines here. I built a ship with similar fuel capacity to this, only it didn't have nearly as much just liquid fuel. It had like 1 tank for each one, so I think that may be a bit excessive, but it does give a bit of cross-range capability. Let's go into this, shall we? Caps lock's on. There are 2 action groups. Hang on, I've got the email right here. 2 action groups set, 1 being toggle the jet engines on and off, and 2 being toggle the aerospike engine. Simple enough. I don't know whether he's included closing the intakes, because that does reduce drag. Hopefully he has, but if he hasn't, well, I'm not going to change it. Oh, crap. And the brakes are still on. Okay, so I've wasted a little fuel already. How much did that waste? Ah, not much. Okay, so brakes are disengaging very soon. There we go, disengaged. Now this thing is supposedly being able to achieve orbit at only 2/3 of the amount of fuel being used, so that's definitely pretty high achiever. Then we'll see how well this works. Does it pull up before the end of the runway? Operation DX, that is your qualification. I don't think it does. Nope, it does not. I even adjusted the trim slightly, so no, it certainly does not. So yeah, that's a fail. I'm joking. It's no, it looks pretty nice. It flies pretty stable for a single stage to orbit. Can it do a barrel roll? Oh, with my skill, it certainly can. Slightly. Not a barrel roll, sorry, I must correct myself. It's an aileron roll, if that's the correct way to pronounce it. I should probably look that up. But let's take this thing. So I have actually I've built and flown single stages to orbit before. Admittedly, my single stage to orbit was smaller than this, but in comparison, it had a lot less fuel to carry, and it certainly achieved orbit, barely achieved orbit. Now this thing, it does weigh quite a lot, because it does have quite a lot of fuel in it, and as a result we are going pretty slowly. There we go, we're accelerating again, accelerating once more. So what's the good part? Let's take a review, because getting this thing into orbit may take a little while. In fact, can we do 2 times speed? I think testing how it handles under physics warp is certainly a good idea. 3 times? Oh, sorry, that's me pressing the wrong key. 3 times is good. I mean, I can't see any parts really shaking around, which is what you'd expect on a lot of aircraft. There we go. Yeah, that seems pretty good, actually. Trying to get that altitude at the moment. This is also a semi-tutorial on how to achieve orbit in a aircraft, which is going to be pretty nice, pretty convenient. Okay, let's try 4 times. Now this is the one that, if any, this will tear it apart. No, it's looking pretty good. Okay, it passes the time acceleration test. Definitely. Does it have advanced SES? It does! Nice. Okay. Now, the idea with single stage orbit is that we have to maximize our speed and altitude running only off of the turbojet engines. I did start off using the aerospike accidentally. Maybe that is not such a good thing, having them both in the first stage. That should probably... It's nitpicking, but it is a little refinement that should be done. Should be changed, perhaps. Just trying to trim to adjust this. As a rule, I generally don't use advanced SES with aircraft, but it's good that it's got it there. It's certainly not a hindrance. If anything, it shows that the craft is capable, if it does work, certainly. Having extra payload, the more unnecessary weight there is while still functioning, shows that a bare bones version would be undoubtedly brilliant. Maybe that'll be an interesting thing to do. I will provide download link in the description for this, which is hopefully okay with Campbell. Campbell. Is that Campbell or Campbell? I mean, there's a P in it. I'm not sure how to pronounce that name. Have heard it before. I'm just ignorant. Reaching 14 kilometers, going fairly fast, still rising. We can kind of linger in the atmosphere because these engines are extremely efficient, and the higher up we are, the more efficient they will be. Nope, sorry, I'm incorrect in that aspect. The efficiency is actually going down slightly. Efficiency is specific impulse, by the way. Effective exhaust velocity or something per amount of fuel used up. Point is there is a certain range that these actually operate perfectly at, and if we go too high we may well exceed that, but it shouldn't be any worse than being down at sea level. We are rotating. That swaying is actually getting on my nerves a little, but you know, okay. Having 3 turbo intakes per each engine is pretty nice. Do you like that? So now we're going to go forwards. So we're trying to maximize the amount of speed we get just from these engines, because being efficient, even at altitudes they're not intended to operate at, being so efficient, it's much better to get as much speed as we can possibly get out of them, rather than using the, in comparison, very inefficient aerospike. 19 kilometers, we do have quite a lot of intake air. Does he say something? Climb to about 12,000 meters where you should start leveling out to build up speed. Nope. Sorry, I don't agree with that. That's what you said in your email. I don't agree. I've leveled out at 26 kilometers in my aircraft before. Admittedly, no, and the thing is, yours has got a higher ratio of intakes to engines. So, yeah, you don't need to level out at 12,000 kilometers. So maybe 12,000 kilometers, 12 kilometers. Maybe we'll do this better than you actually managed then, perhaps. Unless I'm just completely wrong in every way. But there we go. Getting our re-entry effects when we're not re-entering. That's cool. So you say climb to about 12,000 kilometers, level out to build up as much speed, and then slowly gain altitude and rise until your intake air is about 0.15. Well, we've got loads of intake air. We're actually going back down though. Let's fix that. We've got loads of intake air, so that's not a problem. What's important? Do not attempt horizontal turns in high atmosphere. Don't attempt horizontal turns at all, my friend, in an aircraft. I presume you don't mean using the A and D keys. I think you probably mean, you know, actually tilting and turning, but whatever. And as you'll likely enter a flat spin and likely die, that's great. If you do get in space with leftover jet fuel, then you can vent some out through the jet engines. I don't know why that's necessary. I'm probably reading this wrong. I'm trying to control an aircraft and read at the same time. But look at this, we're getting pretty high. We are building up our speed nicely, as you can see down there. I don't know if you can see my mouse. You can't. Okay, it's not a massive problem. The intake air is now going down as we reach higher and higher and higher. Higher. I'm trying to get as much speed out of this as possible, so we are going to be tilting forwards and backwards a little. 22 kilometers looks like, a full 10 kilometers more than you suggested, which should give us a bit of an advantage over you, hopefully. But no, this ship's handled very well. The mass seems to be working pretty well. It's easy to control. Admit that I am using advanced SES. Still speeding up, and the intake air is not going down significantly. This is great. I am using Advanced SES for that. If we take Advanced SES off, it flies absolutely stably. That's my fault with the trimming that's chipping up. Adjust that. In fact, put it on standard trim. Okay, yeah, that's way too... Yep, pull up, pull up, pull up. Sorry, I reset the trim. Still speeding up, though. We've passed 13 kilometers per second. Nope, 1.3 kilometers per second. Damn, I make these mistakes all the time. There we go, going back up, and we'll put Advanced SES on and just adjust trim a little. Trim is the best thing. If you don't know how to use trim, it is Alt plus directional key. And it basically means that the aircraft wants to go in the direction you're trimming in automatically without you having to actually press any key later on. It is so good for aircraft. You have to learn how to use it. Just experiment and it'll be really good. We're still speeding up. I'm sorry, for your entertainment value, I'm not even going to try and get this hurried over with, because this has the ability to perform really well if we let it. We have reached 0.16. If that goes down to 0.15, then we're going to go for it though. So just ignoring everything I just said. There we go, 0.15. Okay, activate the next engine by pressing 2. We're speeding up significantly, and we start panning up. I think... Oh, there we go. Damn it. Wow, that intake went down suddenly. Christ, flat spin. Hang on. I can recover, I can recover. There's no gimballing on this engine. Have I really ruined this? Crap. Ah, damn it. Okay, we can restart. So we're getting back up to altitude, and I actually do need to apologise. I misread the email earlier. Where I thought he meant to level out at 12 kilometers, he actually said climb to 12 kilometers, which is where you should start leveling out to build up speed, and then slowly gain altitude and rise until your intake air is about 0.15. So obviously you're going to get more intake air the lower down you are. You're only going to get 0.15 at very high altitudes. So yeah, I misread that. So we should actually be okay. Things to note, what did I learn? I didn't really learn anything else. I did learn that times for acceleration plus SAS equals headache. So that's why I've got this off at the moment. Actually put it back up. Whoa, Nelly. Okay, nope. Nope, we'll stick with lower acceleration, thank you. Ah, God, don't you dare flat spin on me again. Okay, we're okay. We're fine. Start leveling out a bit again. Yeah, the control on this is pretty good. You do need to adjust trim though. Not having any trim adjusted whilst at high altitudes equals nosedive. So don't go without your trim. It sounds like I'm giving health recommendations. Have your trim twice a day. Let's bring this, level this out a bit more. We're aiming for that. What was it? 25 kilometers last time. It was something like 25 kilometers where we got to 0.15. So we'll aim for that. Just increasing speed now. There we go. We can actually put that on again. Not doing any time acceleration. And yes, so things to note. If it gets to 0.15, if it goes 0.14, and we'll turn off the jet engine. I have to watch this video back. Actually, I'm very surprised it dipped down that quickly. The intake went from 0.15 to like 0.4, which is ridiculous. But it was probably just me being, you know, unobservant. There we go. What I should have done is checked whether the intakes, turning them off, are actually included in the action group. But I think we'll find out. This should be our successful flight, hopefully. If it isn't, then you're probably not watching this. If you are, then it is. So be happy about that. Either that or I'm just messing about. Something funny may happen in the future, which is why I may be leaving this in. No point pondering that. Past 20 kilometers, still rising. 0.26 intake air and falling. Speed is over a kilometer per second though, which is nice. Start leveling out a bit more. Just a little bit. Nice and gentle up here at the high altitudes. Altitudes where the air is thinner, so there's less buffeting around in the wind. It's very, you know, it's quite calm, I suppose. And have a look at this, the dent. We've barely made a dent in our liquid fuel reserves for these turbojet engines. Actually in the centre tank, as I've already said, or centre column of tanks. Leveling a bit more. What we reached over 1.3 kilometers per second, so I'm not going to turn these engines off and switch to the aerospike until we succeed or exceed or something. Words escape me. Block, mental block. No, there we go. It's gone. It's like eating too much ice cream. That happens unless we. There we go. We're past 1.3 kilometers per second. Intake's still looking good, except we are going back down. We want to fix that. So many dials to concentrate on, and commentating at the same time, and flying the ship at the same time. It's hectic, man. The life of a YouTuber. It's just full of excitement. There we go. Intake air dropping back again. Ooh, our speed is increasing sufficient to actually increase the intake air a little. If we can keep that up, we may reach pretty good speed before dropping too much, and altitude even. Please get us. Nope, it's going down to 0.16. Okay, we're going to turn on the aerospike imminently. Can we hit port 1.4? No, aerospike on, and as soon as you lot drop to 0.14, then I'll turn off this and tip up more. There we go, 0.14. Turn off the turbid engines, and we're now tipping up, because now we are not breathing the atmosphere anymore. There's no point staying in it and suffering the drag, so we're pointing ourselves even further up, which is nice. We've achieved a really good angle. For some reason there's usually a force that kind of acts against me when I'm tipping up, but no, this is pretty much the angle we want, just above 45 degrees. And we are slowing down because we have less thrust. How much do we have here, actually? 175. These things have like over 150 each. So yeah, we have dropped the thrust significantly. Is that Minmus? I think that's Minmus. Either that or another planet. I don't actually know if you can see the other planets from Kerbin orbit, which we're nearing. We're getting very close. We are speeding up again. No, the intakes have not been closed by doing the action group. I'm disappointed. We should probably do them manually, but I kind of want to fly the ship how it's been submitted. Okay, let's look at our apoapsis. Increasing nicely. Good. Very good. Right. Hopefully I'm flying this well enough. We are nearing halfway through our fuel reserves. I'm fairly confident, but I'm getting worried as well, which is normal, I suppose. It's pretty... I was going to say endearing for some reason. What's the word I'm looking for? It's a pretty challenging mission. It is quite a feat to achieve single stage to orbit. So if this craft can do it easily, and even if it can't do it easily, as long as it can manage it in this video, at my hands, admittedly, then we should be doing pretty well. As soon as I hit 60 kilometers, I'm going to tip forwards a bit more. And there we go. Tip forwards. Ooh, it's not letting me tip forwards. Okay, it's doing it slowly. Yeah, this is the same force I was kind of mentioning earlier. Maybe it's like Jedi's. Just, no, you shall not hit orbit. I'm trying to make terrible jokes, and I've decided I should stop laughing in my videos, because my laugh is kind of annoying, and it sounds strained, even though I can assure you it isn't. But, whoa, 90! Oh, crap. Wow! 90! Man! That went quickly. And we have got loads of fuel left. Wow, that is pretty awesome. If we can achieve a 90 kilometers circular orbit, then, and still have a fair amount of fuel left, then that is amazing. You can tell I'm impressed. Okay, let's warp this thing up. We are nearly out of the atmosphere. Ooh, turn off the trim, get rid of the trim there. There we go, out of the atmosphere. We're getting up to our apoapsis. Could use flight planning. Not going to, because it's not necessary for just orbiting. At this point, we've now turned into a rocket, and we're basically doing what is the routine. Start burning a bit early. There we go. The reason we burn early is because the duration of this burn is going to be longer, and we want to spread out that length over the entire time. I'm feeling resistant due to trim. No, it's not due to trim. Like, I have trimmed, I'm still feeling resistance. I would like to take a look at the force vectors, which is the direction that the force is being applied relative to the mass Yeah, we're feeling a... The nose is trying to tip itself upwards. I think the mass and the thrust vector are out of line when I'm just using the aerospike. Don't see why it would be, though. Doesn't look like it. Maybe, I don't know if the intakes are doing that, maybe. I'm not sure. At any rate, it's making us a bit less efficient, but we should be okay. I'm just trying to get this thing into orbit. We're so close. 93 we've put ourselves up to. 93 kilometers. There we go. And we have circularized, pretty much. Hit 90, hit 90, hit 90. There we go, 90. 95 and to 93, not bad. And we still have quite a bit of fuel left. Is it 1/3, as predicted? No, it's not. It's just under 1/3, but I think we can probably put that down to my inefficient orbiting skills. But no, this is brilliant. This is really easy. I know Operation DX had a lot of... I watched this video, you can tell. I watch his videos, in fact. I recommend them. If you don't know who he is, his channel name is Operation DX1. He makes very entertaining videos. Not all that regular. I think he's struggling with things, trying to keep on top of them making the videos, but they're definitely good. And he was making his first stock craft, and it was a beast. It was massive. It looked like it could just destroy an entire country. It was that terrifying. But yeah, I recommend you watch this video, mate, because it's not that hard. Apparently, I don't actually. That's terrible. It is quite hard. It took me ages to do it, but this craft certainly makes it look extremely easy. So, can we land this thing back at the Kerbal Space Center? We've gone over 22 minutes. 20 minutes is kind of what I aim for these videos. I want them to be a bit shorter, but I think we have reason to make this a bit of a shorter episode. So about here, let us burn retrograde, as we nearly are. I'm not going to take this into a longer mission, although I would like to. I'd like to take this thing to Juna. If we refuel it in orbit, then if we refuel it fully, I imagine we would actually have enough Delta V using the aerospike engine to push us to Juna. Literally just in this craft. I don't think we'd actually have to attach another stage. And from there... Well, actually, no, Juna wouldn't be perfect because we can't use intakes, can we? If we attach another stage... I don't think this would take us to Joule. If we attach another stage, docked it to the front here, it would be really unstable. If we did, though, we could probably put this thing on lathe, where it would work with the intakes. So, implications, man. This craft is pretty nice. Now, I am terrible at putting this thing down where it needs to go. Fortunately, we have tons of liquid fuel left. We really do have a lot of liquid fuel, in terms of the efficiency, you know, compared to how efficient those engines are when they're breathing atmosphere. So if we overshoot or undershoot, we should have enough to actually get ourselves back home. I think the correct position to put this is... I really don't know. I think it's guesswork every single time. Unless you actually work it out properly, I think it's guesswork. But we're going to put it there. So that as Kerbin rotates, the trajectory gets closer to the space center. And as we get slowed down by friction, it gets closer as well. I think we're going to undershoot a little. But, you know, that's probably better than having to turn around due to overshooting. We are now descending. This thing can go to the moon. What did he say? If you do get in space with leftover jet fuel in the center tanks, it is advised you vent some out through the jet engines by turning them back on. Be sure, however, that you do keep a little bit for landing, and lastly, do not try... No, it was earlier. You were saying something about going to... Oh yeah, due to the inefficient aerospike engine. I don't agree with that. I think it's pretty damn efficient. 390, that's the same as an LV-909. I think the new players might have been spoiled by the nuclear. But no, due to the inefficient aerospike engine, Minmus is impossible. However, moon orbit and return is. Getting to Minmus, no, getting to Minmus takes more. Landing and returning from Minmus takes less. So yeah, apparently this won't have enough to actually go to Minmus. I think I agree with that, actually. I don't think there's enough fuel. Certainly not to get back safely. If it does get there, maybe it won't actually be able to get back. We are kind of hanging around here, aren't we? Let's get this thing into the atmosphere. There we go. and we shall point it at the horizon and put advanced SAS on, because I think that is a sensible thing to do. Because I always experience problems re-entering. I don't know what it is. Why are those gears opened? Go back in your hiding holes, thank you. Yes, let's walk back down. Oh, advanced SAS plus 4 times speed. Yeah, I told you, headache for the pilot. A headache. This thing, the rotation of Kerbin, we really shouldn't have bothered to factor that in, I don't think. Put some motion blur on this. Camera shake. This is authentic video footage recorded by some external body of some description. They never answer that in films, do they? Oh, there we go. Air resistance, much. Bringing that down. And there goes our re-entry heat. Look at that. Isn't it just beautiful? I didn't catch that in time, I don't think. I think that's alright. I probably didn't. Doing thumbnails, I always forget to do them. It's a bit annoying. Where's our thing? Okay, we're gonna have to do some cross range transferring and stuff. So we deactivate aerospike, activate the engines, and we throttle up. We do have enough intake air, so that's not a problem. And hopefully we'll be able to get to the Space Center and land on the runway. That's the ultimate challenge. I've never done that before, so if I can in this video, that will be brilliant. If I fail, then that's a fail, and we'll have to do it at some other point. But yeah, in the final few minutes of the video, it's been over 26, it's quite long, we're actually accelerating. We don't really want that. Yeah, accelerating a bit too much, sorry. Being inept again. But in the final few minutes of the video, I want to say that Campbell's email with the submission of this was perfect, right? This was absolutely perfect in every way. The screenshot was a link to Imager, which I think is how it's supposed to be pronounced. God damn it, we need to tip this down a little. I'm opening the gear again. F and G. Who would have thought they'd be so close? Come on, get further down. Yes, that's better. Okay. Yeah, the email was absolutely perfect. The screenshot was a link to Imgur instead of having to be a download, because a lot of you have given me zip files. Go back in. A lot of you have given me zip files. It's like, oh, everything's in there, it's fine. No, it's not fine, because I don't trust you. I can't afford to trust every single person on the internet, so I'm not going to be downloading files when. Also, it's a bit unnecessary. I mean, you can just put a file in, you know. But yeah, screenshots clearly linked to Imgur or attached. Don't put them in zip files. There's no need to. You're not compressing it or anything. It's a bit of a hassle, really. It is quite neat, though. I can tell that's why you're doing it, trying to help. But start these engines again. Yes, the email was good because what it did, it gave me a nice little thing to read, a little instruction manual, and it wasn't patronising, as some of them have been. It's like, oh, you probably use advanced SAS. Yeah, I can guess that. But no, this was actually a clear description of how to use the action groups. Really, the grammar was correct, the spellings were all correct, which does put me off. I have to find some way of filtering down because I get hundreds. Over the course of a week, I get quite a few entries into the test pilot. So one of the filters I put on them is good grammar. I'm sorry if you think that's unfair, but it's true. Good grammar is always good, hence why it's called good grammar. Both start with G's. Alliteration. I'm rambling. As we come in, we're getting very close. I want to adjust the trim just a little bit. Turn off the engines. I probably should be a bit more over this way. Come on. We need a little bit of throttle. Just a little bit. We don't actually. No, we can turn that off. That's fine. The craft download was fine. The ship's not got too many parts. The screenshot itself was descriptive. It showed exactly what the plane looked like. It wasn't a random. It wasn't a picture of it crashing, which some of you have sent in pictures of it crashing. It's like, yeah, I'm really going to pick your ship from that. That's really descriptive of you. And in general, it was very polite, which is also a good thing. As we touch down gently. Perfect! What a brilliant ship this is. I have to say this is one of the best ships I think we've had on the test pilot. Really, really good. Really good. So yes, that was my little rant about submissions. Try and make the submission appealing to me, as this was. 10 out of 10. 11 if I could give an 11. Really innovative. The design works well. I'm not going to check those mass vectors, I'm going to believe you. Also, I'd have to take off the engines in order to see what the aerospike thrust vector looks by itself, so I'm not going to bother doing that. But yeah, the aesthetics looks really nice. Personally, I think that. I do like this effect with the turbojets and the tricoupler being set back a little so they're not out in the open and taking up more room than is necessary. The fuel usage is good. I thought it was a bit weird at the start that you were putting turbojets on the liquid fuel, but it makes sense because you get to use this slim body, which is always nice. And that's pretty much all I have to say, so 10 out of 10 for everything, 11 if it were possible. 11. Thank you very much for watching this episode of the test pilot. To make your own submissions, there is all the details in the description that you will possibly need, and that includes sending it to my email, which is HOCgaming@live.co.uk, not in a personal message on YouTube, I'm sorry, those won't get accepted. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked the video, please do like the video. Thank you very much for watching again, and I shall see you all next time.